What is up, Wisconsin sports fans? I'm Johnny Rader, Toss the Mic Sportscast. We're talking receivers today. We're talking Green Bay today. Since the Super Bowl is over, it's finally time to start talking some off-season stuff. So are the Packers going to add to the receiver room, and what do they have with their current receivers in the room? So the Packers receiving room is filled with young talent. First of all, you got Jaden Reed, took him in this year's draft in the second round. He had himself a great year. He's the jet guy. He's the motion guy. He's a punt returner too. He does a little bit of everything. He rushes, he receives. He has 793 receiving yards. He has about 119 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns running, and 8 touchdowns receiving. That's a pretty good season. That's better than a lot of first-round rookies that have been taken. He has about 1,000 total yards and 10 touchdowns. What more can you ask from a rookie receiver? So in the future, how is he going to be used? He's probably going to develop into the Packers' #1 receiver, in my opinion. He's going to be better than Christian Watson because he's actually durable and actually plays through injuries like the chest injury that he went through. It seems like every Packers receiver had a chest injury, but Jaden Reed, he fought through his injuries, and he had himself a pretty good season statistically. Now to get into who I think is going to be the receiver 2 in the room. So Christian Watson, obviously he's the guy with the most talent, the most boom, and no bust apparently. But, you know, his injuries are the thing that's keeping him down. He's fast, he's physical, he's tall, he's like 6'5". What more can you want out of your receiver 2? When he did play this year, he had himself some pretty good games against the Chiefs, 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. But man, he does attract a lot of double teams, so he definitely will have a roster spot no matter what next year. So it's just a matter of where he places on the depth chart. I think he finally shows out and stays healthy and stays in the #2 receiver spot. He started off as the 1 this year, but man, those young receivers did take him over. So then Romeo Douglas. He had himself a good year, 674 yards in the regular season, a lot of fade ball touchdowns. He had 8 touchdowns, and at one point he was leading the league, or was at least #2 in touchdown receptions. So, and in the playoffs, he had himself a pretty good 2 games. He led playoff receivers in receiving yards throughout the first 2 weeks of the playoffs. He had himself a great wild card round. He had himself a great divisional round as well. So, 234 yards in the playoffs, another touchdown to add to his resume. Overall, he had himself 1,100 total yards and 11 touchdowns throughout all the games that he played. So, where do I think he's going to place on the roster? I think he'll place himself at #3 or #4. That's where I think he'll end up being. He still has that wide receiver 2 upside to him. And, you know, a good red zone target for Jordan Love, but I just don't think he ends up having the breakout season that Jaden Reed will have, Christian Watson will have, or even who we'll get into now, Davian Wicks, who I think is a great route runner. The man has a great release, and I'm not going to say he's Davante Adams, but man, that release reminds me of Davante Adams. This guy had himself a great year. It didn't start out so well. He didn't get a lot of playing time, but in that Falcons game, when he caught that touchdown, broke a couple of tackles, and went into the end zone, I think we all knew we had something special in this guy. If you watch any of his routes, he starts off, boom, like Davante Adams. He comes out fast, he runs that little dig route, and he gets open. Man is an absolute route running machine. He had himself 581 yards on the year and 4 touchdowns. But man, he started to turn it up in the last couple weeks. Against the Bears, having himself 2 touchdowns. But man, I think it's what he showed in his flashes that make me think he can be the #2 guy on this team. Not #2, I'll give him #3. But he has that receiver 1 upside. Man looks like Davante Adams in 2014. But hopefully he doesn't have that drop Davante Adams stage, what 2015 Davante Adams had. So overall, to close this video, I think Jaden Reed is your receiver 1, Christian Watson's your 2, Davian Wicks I think will move into your 3, Romeo Douglas will be your 4, and then it'll be a battle at receiver 5 and 6 between Malik Heath and Samori Toure. Not Samori Toure, never mind. He's receiver 7, we're going to have Bo Melton at receiver 6. So, Malik Heath, I don't think I've had too many hot takes in this video, but let me know down below. Leave your comments. Leave who you think is going to be on the depth chart in exactly the order you think it will come out in. Who do you think? Jaden Reed is going to be your 2? You think Christian Watson's going to absolutely break out and actually be the receiver he's supposed to be? Or, you know, do you think Romeo Douglas will be that receiver 1 for years and years to come? Anyways, Wisconsin sports fans, thanks for catching this video on the Toss the Mic YouTube channel. Be sure to check out our other videos. We got a lot of bangers. Check out our YouTube shorts. We got a lot of bangers there too. And, that'll be it from me. I'm Johnny Rader. Catch me on the radio waves, 90.1 Q90 FM for my sports updates, and also on Radio GBX. I'll leave a link down below to that. There's a lot of great shows on there. A lot of student radio stations out there are not as good as Radio GBX. So let's end it right here with a like, a comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, fellas.